Hey guys, first off I want to thank you for clicking on this video. We appreciate it. If you haven't noticed, this is going to be a long one, and it's a really good video full of really good information. If you're into the medical stuff, you'll really like this video. So if you don't have that much time to sit and watch it, maybe watch it podcast style. There's not much really that you need to see. You can benefit from seeing it. If you just want to listen to it, set your phone down, maybe play it over a speaker or something, or play it in your car. It is full of really good information for medical stuff, any kind of trauma, things like that. So if you guys are into that, highly suggest that you stick with the video, and I hope that you guys really enjoy it because we had a lot of fun doing it, and I've talked long enough, so enjoy the video. Welcome back to North Coast Tactical, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am here with Gabe Atchison. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right.
Yeah.
So Gabe is here to talk to us about some medical stuff. It's been quite a while since I have done a video about medical equipment, probably a year or two. So Gabe is here to enlighten us on some different gear that you should be carrying. So Gabe, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the guys about you.
Well, Dan, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
First off. So I know this is one of the things just from the class that we had talked about doing. So very important subject. My name's Gabe Atchison. Just so everybody knows, I own a company called CRMS, or Crucible Risk Mitigation Services. We specialize in consulting, training, equipping for just about anything you can think of. We do mostly, these days we're doing mostly medical training. Between the trauma training, we also do CPR, different BLS stuff, AED.
And I took one of the classes. It was fantastic. Yeah. So definitely, if you're in the area, you're local. Do you travel at all?
Absolutely.
Okay, all of his information is going to be down in the bottom. So if you guys need to get a hold of him, you want to take a class, contact Gabe.
Well, and actually, we'll be having another class December 21st.
Okay.
So coming up, and we're going to try to have them every month.
Okay.
And going
Awesome.
forward. So it's just one of those things with absolutely necessary.
100%
skill set to be teaching.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Was very pleased with the class.
Good,
and the experience. Definitely have recommended it to other people
glad.
as well. So let's kind of talk about some gear. I carry medical gear on me every single day.
Sure.
And I think that everybody should. If you're not carrying medical gear, you should probably do some research. Maybe look into some incidents that happen to people when they least expect it. Maybe look up some statistics of medical emergencies that happen, car accidents and things like that, and it'll probably do you good. It'll probably change your mind too. So why don't we start with some of the smallest EDC kind of medical gear that I carry. Sure. And so what I'd like to do is for you to kind of judge me on my medical gear. Tell me what works. Tell me if this is good. Tell me this is bad. Help me help them explain what we should be carrying.
Sure.
On an everyday basis. And then we'll move kind of from there into kind of the more tactical type of carry stuff. So let
me start out by saying though that and I don't want to say anything that you carry is better than nothing. I absolutely hate the term that something's better than nothing because there are appropriate things for it.
Right.
But we're going to talk about some of the stuff that's out there, and with the exception of fakes, and we'll talk about fakes, having something on you is legitimately better than having nothing on you at this point.
Right.
So
right.
Let's take a look at what you got.
So the first thing that I have here is just a small, almost pocket-sized trauma pack. Okay. So inside there you can see the contents of it.
This is from the Adventure Medical Kits. You can get these. These are pretty commercially available kits.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of different places.
I think I bought it on Amazon, so if you guys want, I'll have a link down in the bottom. You can pick one up.
So right off the rip here, one of the big things that's in here that I highly recommend is the Swat Tourniquet. Very good piece of kit. And a pair of exam gloves or nitrile gloves are in here. The only thing I will say about this is to try to keep them available. I know they're trying to be sterile, but try to keep them available
outside of the package.
Sometimes ripping this stuff open can be,
especially if your hands are wet, if it's raining, muddy, your hands are bloody.
Right.
Getting into these packages is going to be kind of difficult. So yeah, that is something that I should change.
And then just looking forward, this is actually a good thing to have in here. Not so much for you. It's pretty much a direction kit of how to...
And I'd like to touch on that real fast.
Sure.
If you're carrying this, know how to use it. Okay?
Absolutely.
You should know how to use everything in here if you're going to carry it as an EDC.
Yes.
Or have it in general. You should know how to use it. Don't show up to a class with all of this gear and have no clue what you're doing. Practice this stuff at home. It's like your gun. If you have your gun, you should know how to use your gun. Okay? If you have medical gear, you should learn how to use the medical gear. Okay? Sorry.
And it's okay, because you've actually brought up a good point that when you're carrying this stuff, most of these kits that you're going to carry are very mission specific. So carry what you're comfortable carrying. If it's just a tourniquet and a thing of quick clot or a bandage, then that's fantastic. But we tend to see in the industry of teaching, we tend to see a lot of different things that people will carry in their kits that they either are not properly trained on how to use, or can be mistakenly or not used in the correct manner if you haven't had the proper exposure how to do it.
And I've noticed that social media is a big factor in that. When people will see other people carrying something, they automatically think that I need to carry that, or I should have that, and it's a whole comparing to others that I think gets people in trouble a lot.
Absolutely. So. There are, perception is reality. So there are things out there where you're going to see other people use this stuff, and they say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But and the first one I'm going to point out is the idea of an abdominal pad or a combi pad. These do not take the place of a bulky dressing. They are meant for very kind of occult bleeding, not anything that's real heavy.
Right.
They will soak up a lot, but they're not necessarily meant for.
Right. I'm not going to pack a gunshot wound with that.
The other thing that I will point out, and actually pull it out of this kit here. So in the commercial kits that are here, and you can get these from most of your outdoor stores and whatnot, they will include a package of quick clot. But you notice that the quick clot in this is a clotting sponge.
Right.
Okay. These are strictly, we see a lot of these, so these are strictly for surface bleeding. And even if you look at the back of the package, it tells you that it's for surface bleeding. So they do work, and they work well. They're just not for anything that would be a deep wound or something like that. So in this kit right here, you have a tourniquet, good piece of kit. You have a pad for small things, right? But these would be better left for a first aid kit. Okay. So
calling it a trauma kit is not necessarily
now
accurate.
Minor. If you want to go by the literal definition of trauma, it is a minor trauma kit.
Well, most of us, I think, when we think trauma, we think of shooty stabby kind of thing. So,
absolutely.
Missing an arm, something like that. Yeah.
But if you are going to use something like this brand of quick clot, this is actually Z-folded gauze. Okay, and if you look on the front of it, it's actually 4 feet of rolled. Well, this is rolled gauze. Of rolled impregnated gauze. So the difference between these, if you were to pick these up in a store and you didn't read the front of these, you might not know what it says. So the other thing with these, just make sure you understand that these have an expiration date on them. So like anything else, we need to be going over our kits and making sure that we have
that is one thing that I try to do. I'll be honest, I have a lot of kits. You guys know this. I have a lot of kit. I have a lot of bags. If you went in my trunk right now, it'd be ridiculous. I'm still working on that video. I know you guys want it, but to go through all that stuff does take quite a bit of time, but it's necessary. It's something that we should be doing as first responders. Guys, if you show up to somewhere first, you're a first responder, okay? Do what you can.
Without a doubt.
Do what you can with what you have to the best of your ability, but you are a first responder if you get there first, so you need to be prepared. So.
The other thing I wanted to point out about this was these instruction kits are not only good for you if you needed some reference or whatnot for them, but these are very good for the lay person. You may have taken a class, like you came into the class, and you might feel comfortable using all this stuff, and then somebody else might come along that doesn't have the training, and at least for a brief bit of time, they can actually look at this and understand what they're doing.
And they include, like you said, for Marines, they include pictures.
No crayons.
No crayons to color or snack on,
Right.
but they do have pictures on there for you.
Right,
So.
right.
All right, so next piece of kit.
Okay, so what I tend to carry almost every day on me, just depending on what you have, but this is pretty much, I carry this on duty, just to kind of, I know we didn't get a chance to really talk about this in the beginning, but my background, I've been a paramedic now for 15 years, 7 or 8 of which I've worked in and out of emergency rooms. 3 of the last 3 years I've worked in a level 1 trauma center. I'm also a SWAT medic, so there's a lot of different levels to this particular game that and you kind of learn what works and what doesn't work. So on my everyday walking out of the house sort of carry, I have just a regular old ankle kit. So it is just what it says. It's a kit that wraps around your ankle, and in my kit I keep stuff for pretty much if something happens to me. I get injured, I get shot, I get stabbed, whatever it is.
Right, you can address
this
yourself.
is for me. Right. So I keep a small pair of trauma shears so that people can open packages if I can't.
Sure.
I do keep a SWAT tee like it was in the other, and I keep a section of quick clot. Now, you can keep all sorts of stuff in these depending on what these are. This ankle kit is actually made by a local company called Gadsden Dynamics. They're based out of Troy.
Okay. We'll link them.
Yeah, they're really good company, really good American-made stuff. Guys, makes really, really good gear. So this is one option for you.
Sure.
I know folks that basically just take...
Not for me and skinny jeans, right?
You do have to have a little bit of a bigger pant leg to wear those, yeah. If you're somebody that wears regular jeans or work pants, dickies, whatever it is, like I wear station wear a lot, so they're great for me.
I'm what my viewers would call a hipster.
There might be more than a few out there that do that. So. But even so much, if you just take a thing of quick clot and a SWAT tee and rubber band it and stick it in your pocket,
right,
you have something that's going to be able to take care of a really bad bleed right here. Yep. So there's other ankle. This is another one out there from the wilderness, basically mountain wilderness stuff. And this is a bigger one. This has a little more real estate. You can keep knives and all sorts of stuff. This is my travel one. I've actually taken this on the plane with me. Not obviously not with a knife in it, but I'll throw your SWAT tee, thing of quick clot in this side, and I can take this with me anywhere I go, and it's everything I would possibly need. It's got a crinkled bandage in here. Okay. I can always take my knife once I get to the airport, out of the airport, and put it in here, and I've got everything I pretty much need here. So this is good kit to have. So as we're talking about good pieces of equipment to have with you, this is something that I advocate everybody keeps with them as a good sharp knife. These things are finicky. If you're going to buy trauma shears, these happen to be small and very, very sharp, and they work really, really well. But you can buy other ones that you will spend more money for that don't cut anything.
Right.
So, like anything else, you want to vet your gear, make sure you're getting good stuff.
Good pair of these cost you
anywhere between $15-$20. Yeah. If you want to go the full tilt route, the Raptors.
Oh yeah.
Tackman Solutions has those. So the Raptors are very good, and they come with a nice little holster.
Are those difficult in a high stress
No.
situation to get out?
No.
Okay.
I have a few guys that I work with. They carry them on a regular basis. They're just pretty much fold them open and they're ready to go.
Okay.
Really good. They're actually a really good piece of equipment. So that's pretty much EDC for me. Is pretty much just the SWAT tee. Now, if you wanted to, you could fit a regular commercial tourniquet in there. Either something like a cat tourniquet or this is a TMT from Combat Medical. Real good piece of equipment. You can fit those in there as well and take those out. But at a minimum, tourniquet, bandage, pair of scissors, something to cut with. And then if you want to throw a pair of gloves in here, that's fine. Sure. The realities, we talked about this in class, the realities of you actually getting a pair of gloves on sometimes isn't always feasible, but we try to. We try
time and yeah. Yep, correct. Absolutely. So. And then what I've tried to do is put more than one pair in my kit, because how many times you go to put a glove on, one finger goes all the way through,
right,
or you rip it in the palm or something trying to put it on. So, you know, having that extra pair of gloves on there, it could be, you know, the difference of necessarily say life and death, but I mean, you know, you never know what people have in their blood or in their bodily fluids.
And this is another. If you're going to buy gloves, if you're going to buy exam gloves or whatnot, make sure you buy good ones.
Yeah.
I don't worry so much about the difference between nitrile and latex and all that stuff, depending on if you have an allergy. But buy good ones that are good, thick ones that are sturdy, that you're not going to rip.
So I shouldn't buy the ones that I serve food with?
No.
Okay.
They have those out there. You can buy those at Rite Aid. You can buy them at most of your drugstores. Look online. Most of this stuff is all commercially available.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff, if you buy online, and this is something that I wanted to ask you too, and something that we go over, when you're buying online, please be aware that there are fake, just like pretty much anything else, guys, there's fake stuff out there. Okay, you touched on it a little bit already, but just buy from a reputable dealer. Okay, guys, so if you see a tourniquet and it's $5 on Amazon, it's not real, okay? And that was something that I wanted to ask you: is that do you get angry or upset or kind of tired of seeing like fake medical gear out there that people are buying and carrying or keeping in their vehicle or taking it with them on vacation or something like that and using it and it failing?
No, because for me, it's not so much a problem with people buying equipment. I mean, it's like anything else. We kind of touched on this when we were talking about the gun side of things.
Yeah.
People are going to buy what they can afford.
Right.
And maybe if you're on a tight budget, you can't afford a couple $30 tourniquets or something like that. So you end up buying the $12, $15 ones. What I would say to those folks is, if you're going to do that, buy one. And make sure it's a good product.
Right. So just buy the North American Rescue cat or.
Right. If you're going to buy kits, if you're going to buy commercially made kits, make sure you look online and like anything else, you would vet what you're buying. Get them from a reputable distributor. Make sure that they're the real thing before you put them there. We want to take out any sort of acceptable rate of failure thing. I don't want that. I want something that's been used time and time and time and time again. Yes, can they break?
Sure.
Yeah. Like anything else. But the chances of these breaking as
far
opposed
less
to those failing
to a fake.
Right, because those are made to mass-produced standards, so
Right.
they're not necessarily the most rigorously
These
tested.
These to me are used to test fit.
Right.
Tourniquet holders.
Someone in class asked about, would they work? If you
Right.
bought them, would they work? I have
Maybe.
no doubt that if you used one, there's a good chance that it might work.
Right.
But I don't want to. Me personally, that's just a personal decision that I want something that's going to.
It's just the same with the carry choice. You can carry a reliable Glock, or you can carry a high point, or whatever. Sorry, all you high point people. I apologize if that offends you, but just know that your gun is not as reliable as a modern day striker fired polymer pistol.
Right.
So. But yeah, so that is kind of the differences between them.
Sure.
Real, fake, more than likely going to work, might work.
Right, and that translates over to everything from bandaging to Quick Clot. They're now have companies out there that are making things that are not the same as Quick Clot. They make the packaging to look the same, but it's not the same product.
And there's one, we talked about it in class. There is one that uses the agent in it is made from a shellfish.
Correct.
So that's something that people should know. If you guys don't know this, it's something that you should know.
I don't have a package of it with me, but you have your two major hemostatic gauzes are Quick Clot, and the other one's a company out of England and they make a product called Celox. Yep. Now, Quick Clot is the agent that's in here is kaolin, which is a natural mineral. And what it basically does, not to get the weeds about it, but what it basically does is it helps your body clot. So, the Celox is made from chitosan, and they actually make it from shellfish. They do have a disclaimer on their website that because it's a shellfish and you have an allergy to shellfish, you could have an allergic reaction to it. They work differently. At the end of the day, they pretty much work the same in the way that they want them done. This is more commercially available. It's something that's been used time and time again. It works very well. And like anything else, training, understanding the proper use of this particular equipment, like we talked about, is key. The product itself is not going to save someone's life. It's you being able to do this and do it correctly that's going to be the difference. So,
because I mean, in all reality, you could pack a wound with dirt and effectively.
I have colleagues that have been overseas
in a pinch if you had nothing else
and have used dirt.
Right.
I have a very good friend of mine that says he's saved more lives with a blue tarp and duct tape than just about anything else. So it's not about the product; it's about the way you use it.
Right.
So,
yeah, I agree. I do agree. So, all right. What do you want to talk about? The next piece of kit? You want to talk about?
So if we're thinking about next step up, so we know these are mission specific. So what are we thinking about next step up? So you've got your EDC kits, things that you have on you during the day, things you take out with you all the time.
Right.
Small, compact, focused on one particular thing. If you're a CCW carrier, you cannot afford to go out of the house without a basic bleeding control setup. You shouldn't. So something like this is appropriate. I also keep in my car, and this is my car kit, is something like a bag such as this. So, and I know you have something similar. This bag is a dedicated trauma bag. It goes with me everywhere. I've taken it out on car accidents. I've taken it out on. I've actually come across a domestic incident that happened. Something you might not want to get involved with, but there was an injured person. So, but I keep this. This is for the bad day, the really bad day when you've got more than one injured person, or you're injured really badly, or you come upon something where you need more than what you have for your EDC. Again, your EDC is typically for you.
Right. Or, someone directly connected to you.
If you're going to carry an IFAC, okay, it's an individual first aid kit.
Yep.
So that means it's meant for you.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with carrying an IFAC and then carrying other equipment. In fact, I would advocate for it. So
absolutely.
So in something like this, what I carry particularly with me, kind of turn this around so you can see. I have a pouch in the front of here that I've got regular commercial tourniquets for. I have other gauze material in here if I need it. I keep another package of sealed up really good exam gloves. So now, again, going back to training. There are some things in here that I keep that other people probably maybe shouldn't carry. So I keep things like decompression chest needles because I've been taught to use them.
I am not taught how to use those, so I don't carry them.
And then I keep things these are things that you can commercially use, or you can readily use, that are commercially available. So I keep things like an Ollie's bandage, which is just a compression bandage with a couple added features to it. I actually keep two of these. I do keep chest seals. So I have 4 hyphen chest seals in here. I have some other bandaging equipment in here as well. And then, so I'm thinking of this as in terms of, a lot of injuries, or I need to help more than one person. Whatever it is. Something, you get a bad car accident, God forbid it's some sort of active shooter event or something like that, and you decide you want to intervene.
Right.
All of this stuff is pretty applicable to that. So one of the big things that I am a very big proponent of is a head-mounted lamp. Light is a valuable thing when you're trying to deal with people in the dark.
Absolutely.
Showing up here tonight, it's raining, it's cold. You're out somewhere where you don't know, where a light source is going to come from, and holding a flashlight is just not practical.
Nope.
So one of these things, these little $25, 300 lumen, it has red light on it, lamps from Lowe's is one of the best things that you will invest in. I can put this on my head, and I know that I've got light, and I don't have to worry about it, and my hands are free. So.
And for those of you that are saying that you carry a flashlight and you can just do one of these notes right here, if you have a flashlight in your mouth, how are you going to communicate with let's say the person that you're trying to work on,
right,
or the people that are around you that maybe you need something? You have to take it out of your mouth, and let's say there's blood involved. Well, now you potentially have that risk of putting blood in your own mouth, or something like that, and taking the flashlight out of your mouth, or dropping it into something, and losing it, or breaking it, or whatever. So just spend a little bit of money and buy a head-mounted lamp. Keep it in your bag. Keep it in your kit. Keep it in your car. Just have it as part of your kit somewhere, and it'll come in handy. So. Sure.
And again, it just goes back to the idea of this being very mission specific.
Right.
So I know that if I'm going to dig into this, I need both hands.
Right.
I'm keeping that light in there.
Yeah.
Those type of things. So.
Yeah. This is the bag where bad things have happened, and we definitely
correct.
We definitely need both hands.
And this is a step up, obviously, from your normal everyday.
Right.
What you have on you.
All right. So on top of medical gears or any other instruments or things in your kit that you keep with you pretty much everywhere you go.
Sure. Obviously, the first aid kit and the whole 9 yards. I keep a little bit of good old 550 cord wrapped up for something I might need it for.
Everybody should have paracord.
Personal preference, just something that I have. I keep a glass breaker with a seatbelt cutter back here, and I also keep another rescue knife with a seatbelt cutter and a window punch. Just in case that you get upon that car accident, you
need to get in.
Right. So
maybe someone's unconscious, something like that.
Sure.
Definitely, I agree. Something nice to have. Something that I don't think that I have actually. I might have one in my car, but if I do, I don't know that I do.
I would venture to guess that if you're gonna be able to break glass, or you need to break glass, you're probably gonna find something to do it with.
Right.
But you can always try the door first.
Yeah,
not a bad
probably
thing, but,
the best option.
Yeah. But again, that's for me. That ends up being those are two tools that I have that are very mission specific. They're for car accidents.
Right.
I'm not really going to use them for anything else. So.
Right. And you are more likely the person that's going to be rolling up on that, having to use something like that, than me or someone else who isn't trained as a paramedic or something like that. So.
But also, and you touched on this before about you being the first responder. You really are.
Right.
So from an emergency responder standpoint, what I do for a living, if you live out in the middle of nowhere,
which
it might be a good while before you get.
Oh yeah,
trained paramedics with actual equipment, fire department, whatever it is. Right.
Yep.
There are areas of the state where you might not even get paramedics. The first two people on scene might be EMTs.
Right.
That don't have any of this stuff.
Right.
So.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I live. Obviously, you're here. Right. So, poorest county in the state.
Okay.
Largest landmass county in the state, but we're also the poorest, so we're pretty much underfunded in a lot of areas.
Right.
So, having this stuff. Is a peace of mind. Peace of mind for me, peace of mind for my family.
Sure.
Knowing that if something were to happen, I can do a lot. I can't do everything, but I can do a lot. To help until better help arrives.
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, so we talked about your kits, what you keep in them. So let's. You want to go through my kits?
Yeah.
And
Let's look at what you got.
Okay.
And be honest. I know you kind of opened it up before this, and we kind of looked at some stuff. So let's kind of look at them and see what.
We went through the little trauma thing, the little trauma pack, and that was pretty much just like the bare minimums type of thing. This pretty much, I've got one in each car, so they're with me in the car as well.
Okay.
If I need them in there. So this is my EDC Ready pack from Vertex. And you guys, if you haven't seen the video on this, I did a full dedicated video to everything that I keep in here. So go ahead and watch that. I'll put links down in the description for that, or up here in the card somewhere. So in here, very first thing up top, tourniquet.
Okay.
So that is from TacMed Solutions.
Right. This is a soft T wide. These are, again, when you're talking about commercially available tourniquets, the three big ones, the windlass style tourniquets, are your cat tourniquet, your soft T or your soft T wide, and then again the TMT.
So,
oh no,
cat tourniquet, or,
right? So
rat's tourniquet.
We were talking about this particular tourniquet. There's been no discernible studies as to whether this thing actually works and works efficiently.
Right.
It depends on a lot of different factors being able to put it on. They say you can put them on one-handed. I would challenge you to do so. They operate almost on the same principle as a Swat tee, where they're basically a constricting band.
Right.
Okay.
Except for this one is very small.
Very tiny. And what it basically is predicated on is you getting concentric circles pretty much around that limb and causing this wide area of constriction. Okay. And it also requires you to be able to fish this thing around a limb by yourself, whether it's an injured arm, injured leg, whatever it is, with enough tension to cut off blood flow.
Right.
Once there's only so much that this will actually constrict before it does not do any more work. So,
and a lot of it has to do with that first.
Correct. Getting that first wrap around. You want a good purchase point, and then think about this in real time as we are putting these on. We learned from class that you should be able to put one of these tourniquets on in less than 10 seconds.
Right.
So what is the problem with putting one of these on is that depending on whether your hands are slippery, time, the whole nine yards, these can become difficult to put on by yourself.
Sure.
So the Swat tee, very much the same thing. They're hard to put on one-handed or self-apply if you're going to use self-aid. But for me, the big thing with these is just they do not have the backing.
Right.
It's like anything else. Could it work? Sure. There are people that are out there that will swear by these things. For the money...
There's people out there that swear by high points, too.
That's very true. For the money, I would rather spend the money on a proven piece of equipment than something that has not been thoroughly vetted.
The only reason that I bought that was because I didn't know there were other options out there for small children. I have 2 small children.
Right.
So I was under the impression, again, this is something that comes with real life experience, guys, that you need to take training and you need to talk to people to figure out that there are other options out there for small limbs.
Yes.
Okay? There are other options out there for that, like this TMT that you can get that works for small limbs, correct?
Right. The TMT actually works very well for small limbs. But to be honest with you, the piece of equipment the most versatile one is that Swat tee. Because of the way it's designed, it's size independent, so it doesn't really matter whether it's...
And you could cut that if you wanted to.
You absolutely could cut it in half.
And use it for more than one limb if you had to.
Right. So they're very versatile. Again, you have to tuck them, so it's not exactly... doesn't have the dedicated securing device like the commercial ones do, but...
Definitely a little more versatile.
Right. Okay. Right. So and again, what in my personal opinion would be a better choice than something like the rat's tourniquet. So
I agree. All right. So we looked at some of your EDC kits, the ankle kits and the the ouchie kit.
Sure.
So this is kind of my IFAC. This is a VanQuest. I believe they call it the Fat Pack.
Okay.
Again, done a full video on this, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it down in the bottom. You can go check it out. Okay, so I'll let you kind of check this out. So it's got a nice red pull tab on there. So if I tell somebody, grab the red handled bag, because I do have another gray VanQuest bag in here, but it's got the orange handle.
Sure.
So grab the red one.
The one thing that I do like about these packs, like this, is the one thing they're small, so you can take them everywhere. They do fit a lot of kit in it, so that's good. They do have a dedicated marking device, so that if you needed to, like you said, you could tell someone go grab the red bag or the red tab bag. The pull tabs on this are good. You don't even need to unzip these. I know you can pretty much just rip this thing down and it comes open. So, first. Here's what I will tell you about IFACs. The first thing that I noticed about this is it's very busy.
It is very busy.
if you are dealing with someone who is emergently bleeding, and I'm handing this to someone else to go use,
Right.
I want simple. And
Right.
I want the direct stuff that is going to be needed for that. If this is a dedicated bleeding control kit or a dedicated bleeding control, airway control, those type, trauma
Yeah.
type of thing, I want just that equipment in here.
Got it.
So things that, again, this is all subjective. So you carry what you feel comfortable carrying,
Right.
but
This is more or less my kind of do-it-all
right,
kit, if you will.
right,
I mean, we've got a variety of different purposes for this,
Sure.
as well as, like I said, multiple gloves,
Right.
Band-Aids, antiseptic wipes, gauze, tape,
sure,
that SWAT tourniquet. I also am a big proponent. I always keep my medical information here on a card.
I think that's a great idea.
Tell my full name, my birth date, address, height, weight, hair, eye color, all that stuff. My medical emergency contacts, my wife, my mother, blood type, medical conditions,
Sure.
and hospital preference.
Sure, sure.
So that's something that I keep in every piece of kit. Is basically what you need to know about me and what I want you to do with me.
Right.
So
Right.
that's something that I like to keep in all of that. So.
Okay. I can't argue with any of this stuff other than maybe the Band-Aids.
Boo-boos.
Right. So, I mean, if this is, like I said, if this is a dedicated trauma kit, obviously we want to make sure that we have stuff and we're not digging around in here for Band-Aids.
Sure.
We can have another small bag. You can even have another bag this size
I've got the room.
with a blue, and say that that's for,
You could do airway. You
Oh,
could
absolutely.
do bleeding.
Absolutely.
And I've also got airway back here as well
okay.
with a micro shield for
Okay.
CPR mask.
So yeah, the very good piece of equipment to have if you have to do CPR. Again, training.
Yes.
Because you have to be properly trained in CPR. I like the idea that you have a face shield. I think that's a good piece of equipment.
Duct tape.
Duct tape is also in here. There's a small section of duct tape in here. Extremely versatile. You can use this as bandaging equipment. This is for hold things. It's just a good piece to have in it.
Could use it to, I'd say metaphorically, maybe if you had another piece, you could make a makeshift chest seal.
Absolutely.
Taping up with-
Absolutely. And as I was going to say, you've some very small tape in here. If you had to make a 3-sided occlusive dressing to put on something, this probably wouldn't be your best option. This
Yeah.
is much wider and much stickier. So I'll advise against carrying open gauze because this is now not sterile.
True.
So
I think that I used it on a trip. One of my buddy's sons cut himself pretty good.
Sure.
And I think that I used that in the tape as well. So
Sure.
that should have been replaced.
Okay.
But my bad.
No. And that's, again, this is why we go through these
True.
things.
Yep.
Because, and I, by no means am I the be all end all. This is just stuff from what I do and the
Years of
roads that I
experience.
right. So, again, going back to the common theme here is these SWAT tees are very good. You could fit another commercial tourniquet in here.
Right.
These abdominal pads or these whatnot. Again,
Same.
I personally think if you're going to have a trauma kit, you're better off with a dedicated bandage.
Right.
Okay. Even if it's just a crinkle cut or a crinkle folded bandage or an Israeli bandage, something along those lines that has some compression to it.
Yeah.
You're just giving yourself added capability with.
Now I'm sure
those.
somebody's gonna ask. So,
Sure.
is it possible to almost recreate an Israeli bandage or something like that with a SWAT tee and a?
Oh, absolutely.
So-
Yeah, if you had a bulky enough dressing to put over, so the benefit to something like an Olays or to the Israeli bandage is you're getting a nice big bulky dressing.
And these are much nicer, in my opinion, than the Israelis.
Yeah, and like I said, it goes back to personal preference, but these I think are the more capable
Yeah.
bandages out there. So, but what you're getting with that is you're getting that big bulky pad and then you're getting the compression that goes with it.
Right.
So, if you can mimic that by, having
gauze
right.
and-
But now, what did we do? We now opened 3 or 4 packages
When
of
we
different
could have had
thing to
one.
make one.
Yeah.
When efficiency
Right.
and time.
Yep.
So, and you might think that way but someone else getting into your pack might not know what it is that you're thinking about putting together.
All,
right. So, whenever I put stuff together, I always think about if I had to pass this along to someone else,
can they use it?
Could they still use it?
Right.
And there's nothing in here that somebody couldn't hand me, use on their own, that I couldn't walk them through. Again,
that's a good way to look at it.
Right.
So.
So going back to we have the sponge and not the gauze. There's nothing wrong with carrying these, but just understand that these are not meant to be packed into a wound or used as a big bulky dressing for a wound. They will not do the job that you think they will do.
Right.
These are for surface bleeding. So what else we got back here? We got some wet wipes, antiseptic wipes. So you kind of have a hybrid
boo-boo kit
and trauma kit. So like I said, the only issue with those is that if you're going to have that, awesome.
Yeah.
Just understand that everything's in one bag.
Right.
So if you say I'm having a massive bleed, not only did you take up more space in here, putting other stuff in here when you could have added maybe another SWAT tee or another thing of Quick Clot or another big bandage or another pair of gloves or a pair of scissors or something that a flashlight, something along those lines. You're taking up space in that bag for something that may not necessarily need to go in there.
Right.
So, if you're comfortable with carrying this, obviously that's you're okay with that. Nothing in here is bad. Nothing in here is something that couldn't be used.
Sure.
Like anything else, you just need to understand what the limitations of it are. So, I really I can't say enough about having one of these. If you can buy these face shields, if you've ever done CPR on someone, having one of these is a big plus. Just simply for the fact that you don't want to be putting your mouth on someone.
Right.
So.
Or you don't want them to throw up in your mouth. It's gross.
I've unfortunately had that happen. It's not a pleasant experience. So get yourself a face shield. So. But yeah.
Recommendations on anything that I should take out or add.
So I would say if you're gonna take out anything, getting something like a good old flat pack trauma bandage is probably a better option than this. I can ball this up and use it, and I've got a lot more surface area inside of this bandage to use than I would inside that pad. This pad that's in here is not meant for really gross bleeding. Right.
Yeah. All right. So if you were to give me a grade school grade on this, what would you give me on this particular kit?
I'll be nice to say B. Okay. You have all.
It's just like high school all over again.
You have a lot of the necessary stuff in there for it to be an effective kit for what you have designed it to be. A throw kit or whatever it is that you need to handle a lot of different things.
Right. All right. So if you guys watch this channel at all, you're probably into the gun stuff. And if you're into the gun stuff, you probably go to the range. So if you go to the range, you should probably have some sort of medical gear with you on the range. So this is my range belt, my instructor's belt, whatever you want to call it. And on here I do have some medical equipment. So you want to run down this one as well? And
if I can correct you, if you go to the range, there is no question about it. You should have medical equipment with you. So, even if it's just a cursory bandage, it's something that you should have. Tourniquets again.
The most used thing on the range, medical wise, for me at least. You want to know what that is?
What?
Band-aids.
Sure.
Every time I do a class, somebody's getting slide bite, somebody's cutting themselves low to max.
Absolutely.
Or something. So I'm just band-aids for days.
I keep skin glue, and just for those type things, just to close stuff up if they get really cut, and it's all commercially available stuff.
Sure.
For me, and the way that I would set up, because I do have a gun belt that I use on the range. For me, this goes back again to being mission specific. So if I'm moving and shooting with the stuff that's on this belt, rifles, pistols, doesn't matter. What is the most lethal thing that I'm going to end up having to deal with? Right. If I get cut, I fall and hit my knee on a rock and cut my knee open, I can walk back to somewhere else and put a Band-Aid on my knee. If I shoot myself through the foot or the leg, I need something with me right there that's going to end up taking care of this. So you have the first thing is the tourniquet. Excellent that you got a tourniquet in here. It's a cat tourniquet. You've got a good piece of equipment here that is made for what it's for use as a tourniquet. So good piece of equipment to have on here, and it's a good thing that you do. And everybody should have one of these on you. I have some views about open top carriers. If this is going to stay with you in your car, if you're a police officer and you carry these on a regular basis with your duty belt, the only thing that I will warn you is that these because you get in and out of the car, because you put them on and whatnot, these do get abraded.
Okay.
So, and cat tourniquets are susceptible to damage from UV light.
Right.
So
heat as well.
Right, and heat. So keeping them out of there in an enclosed pouch is probably your best option. But this is what makes this readily available.
Or coming soon to a North Coast Tactical website, horizontal tourniquet.
I'm very interested to see this.
So
yeah,
we'll talk more about that. So it's still in the prototype phase.
Good. So just to kind of, if everybody can see, we have our belt-mounted pack on here. Again, the first thing I noticed is you got a pair of trauma shears. Good equipment you should have on there. Let's go into the rest of this. I got to open this up before. Again, let me reiterate that I am not going to sit here and tell you what to carry.
Sure.
I know what works for me. I know what works for the way I have my kits set up.
Right.
We want to maximize efficiency, and we want to maximize the ability. Again, if you throw this kit to somebody else, and they can still use it. He's got his medical information in here. Excellent idea. I don't even have that in mind, and I'm actually now going to do it. So,
do you hear that, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got chest seal. Okay. These are hyphen chest seals. These are what I carry. Excellent piece of equipment. Again, like anything else, they have an expiration date, so you got to make sure that you plug that. Here's what I will tell you about chest seals. I always carry 2.
Okay.
Simply because if it's something that you need to use a chest seal for, there's a good chance that it's got an entry and an exit wound. And if you seal one side and don't seal the other, you really have
no use for it at all.
Correct. Okay. Not so much not use for it, but you're not using it to its complete advantage of being occlusive. Okay. And the 3-sided occlusive. So good that you have one in here. I would probably include a second one.
I know he's gonna get me with that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trade it out already. So you can't say anything now.
He's got a roll of
we're gonna edit this in post, and you'll never see it. It was there the whole time.
He's got a roll of gauze that's.
Shh! No, it's not. Now you can hear the plastic crinkling.
Yeah, you can hear the plastic. It's brand new.
It's brand new. It's never.
It wasn't in there before. I don't know what happened. So we have another thing of gauze. There is nothing wrong with, if you're going to carry gauze, of carrying something like this.
Okay.
While it's not designed to be hemostatic, it's gauze. Right. So you can still pack things with this. It's a little tiny roll, so it's not going to give you a lot of real estate, but it's a good thing to have in here.
Sure.
Now, other things that we have in here. We have,
and it is able to rip off
there
as well, so you can have quick access. And I do keep a Sharpie so I can write times on my tourniquets or whatever.
Absolutely.
So keeping a Sharpie on there is nice.
He's got a good pair of gloves in here. Obviously, with them not being in something, they're not sterile, so it is what it is. The rest of these, though. So here's my thing with kits like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking this from an abstract point. What are these?
All of those?
Yes.
Those are just antiseptic wipes.
Okay. Does anybody know what they are?
Probably. I know what they are.
You know what they are.
Yes.
So right. So if anybody else was to go in your kit,
it'd be a little difficult.
You'd be like,
for them
well,
to ID them.
I'm gonna look at this. One of the big problems we have.
I'd hope they would be looking a little faster than that.
but I'm just saying, you get somebody that's shocked or is trying to
maybe misreading something too
correct,
as well.
Correct. So you have other, absorbent pads in here.
Right.
All good stuff to keep for boo-boos.
Sure.
Okay. This is not a dedicated trauma kit. Right. It's kind of a hybrid.
Right. That's the theme of
it is.
What I got.
You have a lot of hybrid stuff. And it'll handle some things. But my other part of this was, and we talked about you having more than one limb. If you get shot with a rifle round,
right,
there's a good chance that it's going to go through more than one limb. Okay, yeah. So I may need that or that.
Yeah,
not that.
Well, you'll need that too to shoot.
You might need that, right? I might need more than one of these,
right?
And I might not be able to go back to my car to go get it.
Sure.
So, are you depending upon somebody else to have it? They might not have that stuff. So.
Probably.
Here, again, it goes back to my thing with trauma kits.
Right.
If this is meant to handle, I can always go back and get a Band-Aid.
Right.
Even if you just kept something like I noticed you have another abdominal pad in here.
Right.
Even if you just kept that or we call this cling, or something like these rolled gauze. This works fine for cuts.
Okay.
Okay. And it's very easy to tell what this is.
Right.
If you pull this out of here, it's rolled gauze.
Yep,
There's no mistaking what it is.
Right.
Okay. So if I were to revamp this, I probably would add another tourniquet.
Okay.
Whether it's a SWAT tee or another cat tourniquet. At least now you have two.
Right.
Okay. You have your chest seal. I probably would add another one of those.
Okay. So take the one that I put in here and put it in there.
Correct.
Or take that one and put it in here.
Right. And like I said, me personally, all the other stuff that was in here, I would get rid of.
Okay.
And if you're going to have a first aid bag, keep the stuff for your first aid bag in your first aid bag.
Got it.
So it's a range kit. So it's meant to, if I get shot, how am I going to handle it? And like you said, perfect example, you put in here what you had.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
You have a tourniquet. You have at least one. You have chest seals. You can use them for a myriad of different things. You have bandages in here if you need to just bandage something. But again, going back to worst case scenario, what am I setting this up for?
Right. So, is it a trauma bag or is it a boo-boo kit?
Correct.
So,
correct. And it goes back to the idea of I don't want to confuse myself. Even
someone else.
Right. And we talked about this during class that once you start to lose blood,
yeah,
the mind starts to get foggy and these things. And if you're trying to dig around in this to try to figure out, okay, what do I need to...
Or if it's low light.
Right.
So.
Exactly. So, especially in the dark, I wouldn't know what any of this stuff is. It's in here, so... yeah. So, like I said, I would probably take this out. Me, personally, if I was going to put this on my belt, it would be a dedicated trauma kit. It would have stuff to fix an airway issue if I get shot in the chest or what we refer to as shot in the box. Or stabbed or whatever. Chest seals for that.
Thoracic
right.
cavity.
I've got bandaging equipment. If I needed to put, wrap something or shove something in there, I have enough for that. And then I would put another tourniquet in here just for, you are going to save more lives, or the chance of saving more lives just having that second tourniquet, because one doesn't work, one breaks. That's been sitting in your belt for a while and is abraded and breaks when you use it. I've got a second one, and I don't need to go anywhere else to get it. It's right here. Okay. So this thing's to think about.
Obviously, guys, I'm not a medic. That's why we bring in people like Gabe to talk and teach us about these sort of things, so we can know better and we can do better. I don't want people to think that I'm some sort of voice in the medical community. I'm not. This is why we have training. This is why we have people like Gabe.
Absolutely.
That we can learn from. So if you guys are watching this, learn from this. Look at the stuff that's in his kit compared to mine, and that way you can compare and contrast what he has and what I'm missing. So just something for you guys to think about.
Yeah.
So and then so that's the range kit, and
to point out just what you were talking about. That's the whole reason that we talked about doing this, was because there may be other people out there that have stuff set up. There could be people watching this right now that are like, duh.
Right.
That I know not to have that stuff.
Sure.
Okay. Fantastic for you. I'm glad.
Yay for you.
Right. You know that. But there are other people out there that
That's
don't.
not sterile now. I dropped it on the ground.
It's tape, but it's okay. But you don't know. And so having that ability, that reference, any good instruction is going to come with do's and don'ts.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Just throw it out. That's what he told me. Just throw it away.
no, don't throw it away. Just think about what you want to do with it. Think about the mission that you're trying to accomplish with that, and then outfit yourself accordingly. So, the stuff's out there. It's all commercially available. So,
all right.
What else do we want to talk about?
So I keep this in my trunk of my car.
Okay.
And then it's just exactly what it says.
This is like Christmas. I keep opening new stuff. Okay.
So that goes along with this. Those are probably expired. So those will probably need to be replaced.
They are.
That goes along with the big med kit.
Okay.
And they stay in my car.
Sure. They
don't come out unless they have to.
So here's what I'll tell you about keeping stuff like this: is you have to understand the limitations of them. So are they? Is the package heat resistant? Because if you leave it in your car all the time, is this stuff going to get
hard as a rock?
Hard as a rock,
right? And
possibly not being able to use. Now,
but this comes down to like you're saying, guys, look at your kit.
Without a doubt.
Keep an eye on it. Check it every few months to make sure that nothing's expired. Or even do better than that, which, again, I already told you guys in the beginning of this that I fail to do that a lot of the time, is write down the expiration dates and keep it in a notebook or in your phone. Write it down. And when it expires, replace it.
I'll give you a better tip for that is just get yourself a good piece of, you've got duct tape floating around. Put a piece of duct tape on the front of here and write when the expiration date stuff is.
That works great too.
When I go to look at this, all I got to do is go, hey, my electrolyte solution here expires in May. I need to put something else in here. I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to buy little things of Gatorade
packages,
right. Yeah. So, and you can do that with your bags. If you keep stuff in there, even your other kits, if you know, keep a piece of tape on the back of it or whatnot, know when things expire.
Yep.
I, fortunately, because I'm in and out of this thing all the time, I know when all of my stuff expires.
Right.
So
And you probably use it more. So I don't know if you take that with you when you're on your way to work or going to work or whatever. So like having that, you're probably more likely to use something than...
This hangs on the back of my passenger side front seat, all the time.
Yeah.
It's there every day in the same spot every day. Yep. I can tell somebody, hey, go grab the bag off my... It's always in the same spot, right? So... good thing to have. Obviously, heat injuries can be an issue in the summertime, whatnot. If you're traveling, awesome thing to have. Yep. So, we're not going to get into the medicine behind heat casualties, but obviously, getting people hydrated in a cool place and stuff like that's always important. But I think that's a great thing to have. Just make sure that when you have them, that you
replacing things that
stuff that's in it. Correct.
Okay.
So,
so
let's slide this over here and see what we got in here. So we've got water. Good. Something that should always be around. Doesn't matter.
Gonna like what's in this one, guys. He'll like what's in this one.
Good sterile water in a bottle is also good for flushing things out. So you get something in somebody's eye, whatnot. Aha! Here's what we got here. Now, let's see if it works. It does.
And it's got like a couple different modes.
It does have a couple different settings.
Brightness.
Right. So, again, it goes back to the idea of this has been sitting in your bag in the car for, 5 months, and you haven't come out to check it, and then boom, it's nighttime, and oh wow, I should have replaced the batteries.
Yep.
What I have done on mine, and what I will recommend you do is when you replace the battery, write the date on the battery.
Okay.
So as you go back through, I know that I replaced this battery in, whenever. That way, as I'm checking in or if I'm checking out my stuff, I know that the battery was replaced in May of this year or whatever it is, and it should still be good. I'm still going to test it. I'm going to turn it on to make sure it works. But
good tip.
Yeah. So, what else we got here? A little waterproof tape. Good. I thought this was a sock for a second there, but it's not. Just a good. These are excellent to have, especially in summertime. Wet them down. You can cool people down with those, or if you need to wipe stuff off.
Sure.
One of the big things with chest seals is most of them, the hyphens especially,
won't stick.
Should adhere. Well, they'll adhere to a wet chest to an extent.
Right.
But cleaning them off, one of the other things this does with this too is if I can clean off something, if it's completely soiled or completely bloody,
Sure.
I have a better idea of where that wound is.
Yep.
So keeping a good towel in here. Again, understand that this is not sterile. We have other little things of hand sanitizer in here. Just a good all-around medical kit to have. All right, so we got another cat tourniquet in here. It's a Gen 7. Okay. Another thing of medical
Contact
information.
info.
Correct. We got a pen light. Pen light works. That's good. We got a knife. A trauma blanket. I can't stress enough how important these are to have.
Yeah.
If you do have to deal with somebody who's very badly injured and is bleeding really badly, keeping them warm is paramount.
Hypothermia.
So, right.
You can get hypothermia
Correct.
in the middle of summer, guys.
Absolutely.
It can absolutely
Just
happen.
in contact with the ground,
Right.
you can get hypothermic. So to the point where bad things happen. So we talked about that in class.
Yep.
You get a blood pressure cuff and a stethoscope. Again, understand what are you using it for? Why are you using it? I'll never argue for it being in here.
Right.
But what are you using it for? Do you know what to use it for? Is it a good enough? These things are notoriously bad.
Yeah.
And depending on the bell, the cheaper ones make it hard to hear, especially if you're listening to someone breathe or whatnot.
Right.
But no, not a terrible thing to have in your
Never use them, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I know how they work, but
You might have somebody that comes along that does know how to use one.
Right.
And so it's not a terrible thing to have.
I mean, I can use them. I have yet to find a real, actual medical emergency reason why I had to.
Okay.
But they're there, and they don't really take up
Right.
that much space.
No,
so.
not at all. So we've got other things of gauze, excellent.
In the package.
We've got some. If you get somebody who's low on blood sugar, good thing to have a little gel for that. We've got another chest seal, which you could stick in your, if you want to, stick
In that one, yeah.
stick in your other kit. Little SAM splint. These are great things to have. You get somebody with the hurts their wrist, ankle, whatnot. You can make a quick splint out of those. Great thing to have. Antibiotics, sting relief. These are all good things to have in a first aid kit. Povidone, iodine, for cleaning wounds and stuff like that. All good stuff. I would probably, if you're going to invest in something, I would probably go, if you're going to do Povidone, just get yourself a bottle of it.
Okay.
Something along those lines to keep it in there. They don't dry out. You don't have to worry about replacing them.
Right.
So, the only thing I will tell you about instant cold packs is you just got to be careful if you bump them around and they get activated.
Right.
Then of course they don't. Right. They're useless. And what else we got here?
Kind of separated into like boo-boo stuff.
Oh, you got big trauma dressings. That's always a good thing to have in there. We got a pocket mask if you have to do CPR. Very few places actually will. You can still get them, but like even the American Heart just gives you the barrier film.
Yeah.
So these are a good thing to have, though. What else we got in here?
Yeah, that was from an old medical training we did at work a few years ago.
Okay.
So.
Coban, excellent bandaging material. If you have it or you end up rolling gauze on somebody, this works very well.
Yeah.
It's not as constrictive as some other things, but this works really well for it. And then you've got eye wash and stuff like that in here. All good things. You get something in your eye, you can help wash it out. But no, I think this is. I might add another couple pairs of gloves in here.
Right.
You got an extra tourniquet if you need it. It's in the bag.
Yep.
No, I think everything in here is pretty for a first aid bag that you're going to keep with you. I think it's pretty much everything you could possibly need. So now,
Other
if
than
you want to
another
go,
chest seal.
well, if you wanted it, you could add like OTC meds like Pepto or aspirin, Aleve, ibuprofen, something like that. You could add
I
those
keep
to it.
in my EDC bag. I have a separate compartment for Tylenol, ibuprofen.
Sure.
Benadryl,
Right,
all the
right.
the kind of daily stuff that somebody
Right.
might need. But
This-
having it in there would be.
This is a good setup if you travel a lot, if you're you have camper, you take
Yeah.
something like that with you. If you go, I wouldn't take it hiking, but
Right.
if you're going to go hiking, you can at least leave it
In your vehicle
wherever. Yeah,
or
you can at least
something.
wherever you're going to start off from, those type of things. So no, I think it's a good kit. So
Sweet. I won't even
that's it.
ask what that one gets a grade for, but what will you give a grade for this one?
this is an A. I would give this an A. This has got enough. Now again, you just admitted that you don't know how to use the blood pressure cuff or the.
No, I know how to use it. I know how to use them. I just don't.
You've
I've
never used
found.
them?
No,
Okay.
I've used it. I've just never found a reason that I've had to use it
Okay.
on somebody else.
So here's the thing: is it taking up space in here that you could replace it with something else?
Possibly.
Okay.
There is more space in here that I can use, and I
Right.
do kind of like the idea of having it in there.
Sure.
But
Blood pressure cuff
it,
could
it
work
definitely it doesn't get used more than maybe say, another tourniquet might,
Sure.
or some more gauze, or
Well,
an Israeli
I mean,
bandage
here's-
that I don't have.
here's you
Unfortunately,
could shove a bunch of these in here and
Yeah,
have that.
that's a very
have the
good point.
capability in there, or
Yep.
an Israeli bandage, or another set of bandaging equipment that's in here. So
Yep.
again, I can't hammer this home enough. It's mission specific. What do you want to handle with this particular thing?
Right.
We notice that we have our EDC kits, our everyday carry stuff. We have our, virtual, what hits the fan kind of
Right.
kits for trauma.
Sure.
And then we have a bag that covers pretty much everything else. I think that's a good way to
Right.
go about it.
Because honestly, guys, like, I'm not obviously on his level of trauma care, so everything in there I don't necessarily need,
Right.
or even know how to really use
Sure.
everything in there. Like his, needle D. I don't know if you have any was it nasal pharyngeal.
I don't.
I don't have
carry
no
nasal airways.
idea how to do that, so I don't need to carry anything like that. But he carries more advanced stuff than I do, because he's trained, he knows how to do it. I carry the stuff that I know how to do. That's the biggest thing that you could probably take away from this entire thing, is just do what you know how to do.
Any type of first aid, self-defense, whatever it is that you're taking, for you CCW carriers out there, there's a common phrase that goes around about staying in your lane. I can't stress that stuff enough. There are things out there, and I've heard people say, well, I'm going to keep this for the person that comes after me. Well, if the person coming after you takes 10, 20 minutes to get to you,
Right?
is it really doing you any good?
Nope.
So, you are the first responder. That if this is stuff that you should know how to use, be comfortable using, you're going to use, is set up the way that you're comfortable with,
Right.
and go from there. So
Yeah. Honestly,
don't set your stuff up with the expectation that someone else is going to come along and help.
Right.
We know we live in a society these days where the first thing almost anybody does is pick
Pull
up
out
their
their
cell
cell
phone
phone.
and start taking pictures. So
Yep.
it's sad, but-
It's a selfish generation
Very
or
much so.
selfish society that
Very
we live
much
in
so.
now, and no one wants to help.
right,
So,
right.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
but you guys are different. You guys are watching this. You want to learn. You want to be that first responder. So I encourage you, if you don't have medical training, seek some out. Hit up Gabe. He's doing training. You said that you travel, so
Absolutely.
If you guys aren't necessarily local and you want Gabe to come and do some training for you for your corporation, you do a lot of corporate stuff too,
We've done packages for different businesses and whatnot to cover their employees with different things. We can craft all sorts of stuff to be able to come in. And nothing is good. It's nothing revolutionary. It's not going to reinvent the wheel, but it's stuff that you need to learn. And for us, it's contextualized stuff. So it's you. Not only do you learn why, but you learn how to do it, and you learn how to do it. And you kind of learned firsthand under a little bit of stress, which is important.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. So, tell the folks how to get a hold of you.
Okay, you can reach me at Gabe or GABE.Atchison at crmstrilateral.com.
And I'll put it right
You
here.
want to be at the bottom. My phone number, you listed it as well. You can give me a call night or day and talk to it. We're still working on some website issues, so that's not up and running just yet. But my email, I get them every day, and should be able to answer any questions you have.
Or as soon as his website's up and running, we'll have it down in the description.
Right. So,
any Facebooks, Instagrams, anything like that?
You can look at us at it's basically CRMS training. It's on Facebook. We're on there. My particular one is Gabe Atchison, CRMS instructor. We're on there a lot. I don't update nearly as much as I should, but we have a lot of good content on there. A lot of stuff you can see from the past that we've taught and looked at and whatnot. So we have very good. We partner with a lot of good people. Again, I can't mention enough how grateful I am to C4 for having us out there on the 16th of November to be able to teach that class. This is stuff that everybody needs to know. You need to be comfortable with doing. If you've never had medical training before,
Absolutely.
Get it.
Yep.
It's that important. It's probably just as important, if not more important, than taking any type of gun class.
Yep. We all want to be the tactical operator, and everybody wants that fantasy, and everybody, dreams of, that moment with defending yourself or having to use your gun. I wouldn't necessarily dream about it, but we fantasize about it. Everybody has that. But how often do you think about or fantasize about saving somebody else's life with a tourniquet or, with a chest seal or something like that? Having the knowledge and being able to help somebody.
Right.
So, definitely get some sort of medical training, guys. It's well worth it.
You'll do more good with this stuff. You will do more good than you will with that gun on your hip.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that like button, share it with your friends. That's how this channel grows. We appreciate it. And until next time, guys, we'll see you in the next video. See ya.
Have a good night.
Thank you for coming.
You're very welcome. I'm thoroughly interested to see how this turns out.